I'm now just going to take you through how the RSA SecurID token works. It's a very simple technology invented, in fact, back in the 1980s when it was patented. So it was before GPS and mobile phones and all sorts of wireless connectivity. So you get a token that is basically you put on your keyring. It displays, as you can see, a 6-digit number that changes every 60 seconds. Down the left-hand side, you get a little 6 dots that count down the 10 seconds of each minute before it changes. As you see, it's just changed there onto the next number. Very simply, when the user wants to log into whatever system they want to access, they go to the login page, they enter their PIN number that they remember, and then they read the number off the screen and type that in. The number there has been generated purely on the device. There's no incoming data coming from anywhere, and the device simply has a clock, a battery, the display, an algorithm, which is the patented algorithm, and what's called a seed record, which is a big 128-bit number. Every minute, the little processor in there takes the current time, takes that seed record, generates a very large number by putting them both into the algorithm, produces a very large number, which it then hashes down to produce just a 6-digit output. Therefore, from those 6 digits, there's absolutely no way that you can reverse engineer to work back to what the seed record is in that token. Therefore, just because I can see that number, I can't tell what's unique about that token. The user supplies the token, the passcode to the VPN or the SSL VPN or the website that they're logging into. That then sends the passcode to the authentication servers run by Signify. The authentication servers take the username, and they can see, this username has a certain token serial number. The serial number is on the back of the token. It then looks up in its database to find out what seed record is associated with that token. The server, of course, also has the current time. It therefore simply takes the current time, the seed record for that token, puts it in the algorithm, does exactly the same hashing algorithm that the token did, produces a very large number, hashes it down to a 6-digit number, and makes sure that the number received is the same one as the one that should be showing on the token according to that algorithm. So long as it matches, it says, great, that's the correct user, let them in. Where the real cleverness of this technology comes in is if the numbers don't match, the next thing that it will do is it will check, it'll take the current time and it will add 1 minute to it and run it through exactly the same algorithm but with the current time plus 1 minute, and it will then come up with a different 6-digit number. It will do the same thing with the current time minus 1 minute, which will then give it 2 numbers, one either side of the current time. It will then see if either of those 2 numbers match the number that was supplied. If they do, then the server is able to say, great, it's the right token, but it looks like the clock on the token has drifted. Obviously, these are just relatively cheap devices. They can get flown in planes, they can go underwater, all sorts of things. So the clock can drift on them. It doesn't drift very often, but the server can spot if it does, because all it says is, looks like this token is actually running 1 minute fast. It then stores that this token is running 1 minute fast in what's called a token offset. And then every time that the user tries to log in the future, when it does that initial calculation, it takes the current time plus the token offset, always expecting the token to be 1 minute out now, and then obviously it can spot token drift. So over a period of years, the token might drift by 1 or 2 minutes, either slightly fast or slightly slower, depending on the token. So this is where the real benefit of having the technology for so long comes into play. So you might ask, what happens if the token is more than 1 minute either side? In fact, if the number still didn't match after those 3 different passcodes have been tried, the server then tries the same, but for every minute plus or minus 10 minutes from the current time. If one of these passcodes matches, the server says, okay, this could be the right token, but it could also be that someone's just read the number off the screen in the last couple of minutes and is now trying to log in. So at that point, the server says, okay, that could be the right token, and it sends what's called a challenge back to the user via the access point that they're logging into, and says, you now need to tell me the next number that's showing on the token. And if you think through the risk profile here, if someone was just completely randomly guessing at numbers and they happen to guess at numbers to be for that token at this point in time, they've got a 1 in a million chance of guessing the current token value. However, they've got a greater chance of guessing one of the numbers in the 10 minutes either side. However, even if they've guessed the number and they get it right, you'll see that the server has now said, I want the very next passcode that displays. And now the user needs to type in the very next number that displays on the token. So the next number showing here. If they get it right, they're allowed in. If they don't get it right, the token's completely back to starting again, and you've no closer to the solution. So if you're an attacker, even if you happen to guess the right number once, unless you can get the very next number right, which is the next number in the next minute, you've got 6 digits, therefore 999,999 different combinations, a 1 in a million chance of getting it right. If you don't get it right in that time, you're right back to the beginning and you've got no idea what the next number coming up is. Meantime, if the real user wants to log in, they walk up to their PC, type in their credentials, type in their PIN, type in their passcode from here, they wait for the number to tick over. Even if it's someone else that's attacking at the same time, as soon as the number clicks over, the server says, type the next number that shows on the token. They type in the very next number. It's easy for them because they can read it straight off the screen. The server says, okay, I see you've got the 2 correct token codes now, all in sequence. I'll now let you in. And that will allow the user to completely cope with denial of service attacks. We never need to disable a token. The token will keep working even if someone keeps guessing passcodes trying to log in. So in essence, it's very simple. The user reads the number off there, logs in, and the server makes sure it's the same number.